Pro-democracy protesters have brought Hong Kong to a standstill with a mass strike across the city. The city's public transport system has been paralysed and more than 200 flights have been cancelled as tens of thousands of people took to the streets. It's the latest in a series of public demonstrations that have rocked Hong Kong for a ninth straight weekend. The city's Chief Executive Carrie Lam has spoken publicly for the first time in weeks, warning the protests were damaging Hong Kong's economy and stability.
But what is in front of us is Hong Kong's stability, Hong Kong's future, and escalated violence. But we continue to allow these violent protesters to make use of the Fugitive Offenders Bill and these demands to conceal their ulterior motives. That is going to push Hong Kong to the verge of a very dangerous situation.
Samantha Vadas sent this update from Hong Kong.
Well, thousands of protesters took to the streets again today amid a city-wide strike, plunging Hong Kong into further chaos, with police firing more tear gas to disperse crowds. More than 200 flights were cancelled as aviation staff walked off the job, while protesters blocked traffic and jammed the city's metro system, causing massive disruptions for commuters. Workers went on strike today because they feel there are unresolved issues around how the Hong Kong government and the police have handled the protests over the past 9 weeks. We're talking bankers, social workers, even civil servants, so people who actually work for the government, calling on their employer to meet protesters' demands. Now, that really goes to show the complexity of Hong Kong's political situation right now. Here's one worker from Disneyland.
During the time I've been working here, I believe that this is a pleasant and happy working environment. But because of Carrie Lam's mishandling of the situation in Hong Kong, which has led to bloodshed, she's still not taking responsibility. That's why the union is taking action to urge her to do her job.
Now, what started out as demonstrations over an extradition bill has now morphed into a much wider backlash against the government and, more broadly, Beijing. Now, speaking to the media for the first time in 2 weeks today, Beijing-backed leader Carrie Lam rejected growing calls for her to step down and said the protests were putting Hong Kong on a path of no return. Now, this didn't sit well for some who accused her of fueling the crisis by ignoring their demands and pledged to continue their movement. She also said that the protests had hurt Hong Kong's economy. Now, we know businesses here have been impacted by this summer of unrest, particularly the tourism and the retail sector, and many worry that if these protests, in particular the violence, continues, it will have a significant impact on Asia's financial hub.